Well, I killed more plants again. All right, right now I am moving the little tractor with our little disc over to our other ranch where we have our first planting of melons and watermelons, so I can start disking all of the avenues, because the avenues are starting to get a lot of weeds in it. So I'm trying to kill all the weeds right now before they get too big. All right, these are the driveways that I am going to be disking, and our disc is a little bit narrower than the driveway right there, so I'm going to end up having to do 2 passes. This is 1 pass right here, and I'm gonna come back on this row and get a little bit closer to this left side to try and get those weeds along the edge of the plastic right there. And then hopefully tomorrow I will be able to bring the Kubota over here with the cultivating bar to be able to start cultivating all of the furrows right now, because there's a lot of weeds coming in on the furrows. And for the melons and watermelons, the runners get pretty long that they will end up getting into the row right here, whereas these are the peppers. They're fine, they're going to grow essentially straight up, they're not going to go into the furrow, but we're still going to cultivate all of these rows. I just happened to find some of the plants have melons already on it, which I didn't realize because I haven't been here for a couple days. But where is it? This one right here. Here's another one right there. And disking all through the watermelons, I didn't see any little watermelons on those plants, so I'm gonna go double check again and see. But the melons already have melons. This variety right here is a different variety of melon, and it's the earliest one, which you can see that this one is obviously bigger than the other melon that I found. This one is our can-do melon. Looks like a cantaloupe on the outside, but green on the inside like a honeydew. I just finished up the last row disking. Finished this all, it took me about 3 hours to do it all. Now I gotta take the tractor back to where we had the bok choy, and I'm going to do the same thing over there on the field of bok choy. The plan tomorrow is to cultivate all of these rows over here, and the field is gonna look so much nicer once the rows are all cultivated. And obviously I disked all the avenues now, so we're trying to get rid of all of the weeds that are in the field right now. And we're also hand weeding the plants right now, because there's some weeds, not right here, but there's some weeds that grow around where we plant. Right here there'll be weeds coming up right out here. You can see some right here. So we come in, once they get bigger, we come in and just hand weed them all and just get the weeds out of the field, because obviously when there's little weeds like that and then we put in fertilizer into the plants, the weeds end up getting a lot of that fertilizer and they end up growing bigger than the plants themselves. So we try and avoid the weeds taking any fertilizer we put into the ground. So we come in and hand weed all of the plants All the plants are looking pretty good. These are the melons right here. The watermelons, you can see they grow a little bit flatter versus this variety of melons. They grow kind of upwards, almost like a bush. But to me, the watermelons look a little bit kind of dingy right now. I'm thinking it's more than likely from the rain we had last week. We had some pretty heavy rain last week, and they were sitting in some water for a little bit. So hopefully this week it warms up, and once it starts warming up, they should hopefully come out of this little bit of stress, because you can see some of the leaves are kind of curling inwards, which we want the leaves to be like nice and open and flat like this, versus this where they're kind of curling up. Alright, I'm going to disc all these avenues. This is where all of the bok choy was at. We ripped out all of the rest of the plants that didn't make it. You can see all that right there is the bok choy that was already pulled out now. And this is where we plan on putting the 15,000 cucumbers. Alright, we moved the tractor yesterday and hooked it up with the cultivating bar. Doing the first pass right now. This is how the rows look before, and this is how the ground looks after it goes through and rips up all the weeds. All these little weeds right here are obviously going to be dead now. This is what I was talking about yesterday with the watermelon rows and the melons. Obviously they have runners that they end up going into the furrow, unlike the peppers where they just grow straight up on the row. These are obviously, they're getting bigger, so they're gonna start moving their way into the furrow, which obviously we do not want it to be in the furrow when we're cultivating, because obviously then the blade will cut it or the tractor tires will run it over, and then we're gonna end up obviously just killing potentially that part of the plant, and obviously killing melons that are on that runner. Yesterday my uncle showed me the damage we got on our plants from last week, that we got some heavy rain and hail, which is right here. All the holes that obviously are on the leaves was from the heavy rain and the hail that hit the plant. Obviously that's mainly all the damage that it did to the plants. There's some more. No plants really died. I'm sure some died in the field, but nothing significant that we see. Like a lot of the sections are dead, so it's mainly just the leaves got damaged. And the watermelon plants do actually have some baby little watermelons. They're just not the size of the melon plants. Right here, right there on the flower. There's one. Here's another one that looks a little bit bigger. My uncle thinks we will have melons and watermelons by around June 14th to be able to sell to our markets and little grocery stores we sell to. So that means we should start finding some melons that are ripe, essentially for us to eat, by the first week of June, because it takes a little bit for the plants to start warming up to ripening the fruit. So if he's saying we're gonna have enough to go to markets by June 14th, that means we're gonna be harvesting a couple pallets at a time throughout the week to be able to have enough. Alright, just finished up with the first pass. Once I'm done cultivating the whole field, we're gonna let the field sit for like a day or two, and we're gonna come back and see. So like these weeds doesn't look like I got with the blades, but some of them they did get killed. So we're gonna let it sit, and then in a couple days we're gonna be able to tell what weeds got killed and which ones didn't. So the ones that didn't, we're gonna come back and come with a shovel and just get the edges to get all the rest of the weeds, so we don't have any weeds. Hopefully in here we're trying to eliminate as much weeds as we can. I'm only going about 1.5 miles per hour. I can't go super quick right now because it could potentially break the blades and or snap the bolts off, and obviously we don't want to break that. And since this is the first time going through, the ground is a little bit harder. So if we were to do 2 passes, if I come back in a couple days to cultivate again, I'll be able to go a little bit quicker since the ground is already kind of broken up, so it's a little bit softer. And since this was an old grape vineyard in this whole field, there is still stakes that were holding down the grapes in here that had broken off over time, and some of the grapevines root are still underground. So if I do hit one of those with the blades, it could easily bend or break the bolts. So I'm trying to avoid breaking anything. Well, I just killed multiple melon plants right now. The cultivating bar brought up this wire from the grapes that was here, and it started dragging, and it's basically just slicing the plants on the way. So I killed multiple plants like this, killed that one, another one. I have never had that happen before. I killed, I don't even know how many, but I killed multiple plants right now. This obviously must have been where it was stuck at, and it literally ripped up the whole plastic, and I killed all these plants right here. Yep, 1, 2, 3. Oh man. Another one. Luckily it didn't kill all of them right here in this section, but I did damage some. There's, yeah, another one. This one's still alive. It went over that one. That one's good, but luckily I guess I didn't clear out all these right here. Yeah, the wire got hooked around that blade, and it was wrapped around this whole side right here. Finished cultivating all of the melons after I killed those plants. That was one of the last rows I had to do on the melons. I am on the watermelons right now, and then after the watermelons I need to go to the opposite end of the field and do all of the peppers. Well, I killed more plants. I'm in the peppers right now. I hit a stake and it got stuck around the blade, and it ripped up all the plastic right here, and it killed the plants right there up to here, and it ripped up the plastic over here and started killing plants over here. I just finished up. It took me a little over 5 hours to complete the whole field.